A new year, a old friend. It's time to go visit Beto, Beto and the rest of the Reyes family at El Limon. So this week we're off to Guatemala and somewhere, a well-trodden path. We have our own pathway to this farm on In My Mug. You may remember, about 3-4 weeks ago, we did the live In My Mug at Pollen in Manchester, where we talked about El Limon's Pacamara washed. This week we've got another washed coffee from El Limon, but the Bourbon. And what I thought I'd talk about for our fact this week is a little bit of the history of Bourbon. So Bourbon is probably one of the most well-known coffee varietals that are out there. Planted an awful lot in Brazil, planted a lot in Central America. Bourbon is one of the older natural mutations, if you like, of coffee varietals. Has a massive footprint in places like El Salvador as well, where 70% of the crop is Bourbon. This plant is incredibly low yielding. It doesn't produce the yields that you would get from something like a Caturra or a Cataí or Ethiasar or something like that. It's particularly susceptible to pest. So disease loves to attack the Bourbon plant. It's like, hey, I like you, I'm going to have you. I don't know why I did the silly voice and the fighting thing, but Bourbon is really difficult to grow, low yielding, and susceptible to disease. So why do coffee producers still grow it and like growing it? Well, one, it's a varietal that they know. They know that can sit in their particular farms and give consistent and quality yields, and the consistency of crop from Bourbon is pretty stable if it's managed properly with regular pruning, good natural fertilizers to it. It will. It's a well-known quantity, if you like, which is one of the reasons. I like to think the primary reason for this, though, is its cup quality. If I see a Bourbon varietal hit the cupping table, I normally have some confidence that coffee is going to be of some quality. Bourbon tends to produce a much more sweeter cup. It brings an acidity with it that is not dominant but present, and it has a complexity of flavours that you don't necessarily find in all of the kind of coffee varietals, which I think is really interesting. And this is why Beto and the family have decided to persevere with Bourbon, because they have confidence in it that year on year that their cup quality is going to be there. The family have been on the farm now for around about 30 years. It is a properly family-run farm, from the point of Beto's brother runs the wet mill, Beto, his son, runs the farm, his daughter does the books and the accountancy for the farm, his wife is involved in looking after the pickers and the workers on the farm, making sure that they get all of the things that they need when they bring in outside work. The people from the local town, Beto is a well-known figure, the mayor of Palencia, where the farm is located, which is really cool. Finding Beto, as I've said to you in the past, was fairly easy for me because I used my good friend Raul Perez, who is the... not Raul Perez, that's La Soledad from a few weeks ago. Raul Rodas, the 2012 World Barista Champion, who introduced me to Beto back in the day. And we've just built this relationship to the point where we're now buying all of the coffee from the farm and working incredibly closely with him, and he's become one of our most important partners, but also one of my biggest friends in coffee. Last year, you may remember when we did the In My Mug, they came over and stopped in my house for a week and trashed it. It took me about a week to clean up after they'd gone, and I had great sympathy for Beto's wife having to look after them both. I definitely felt that they needed well looking after. Somebody who needs really well looking after all of the time, of course, is Roland Glue, and he's daft fact of the week. So I think I've tracked down Roland.
What's in my mug?
Roland, what have I said about sitting in my mug studio?
Sorry, Steve.
You can make up for it with a really good fact.
Did you know that Beto and his family from El Limon are really active members of Ana Café, Guatemala's coffee association?
Okay, so we're back and we're going to get into the coffee, but before that we have to go for our Instagram competition, and this week comes from Palace Swindle. A very, very nicely shot photo, I think, this week. I'm very impressed with their work. And thank you. Your prize is on the post on its way to you. Actually, we can't post it because we're not allowed to send love through the post. It could damage the postman and everything. So, yeah, we'll send it through the screen. So time for coffee. Let's dive in. So the first thing you notice about this is the acidity. It has a really strong acidity. Talked to you before about how clean this coffee is going to be. And that cleanliness lets you see the acidity. Super malic. So I want you to think like green apple, red apple, kind of a little bit of a hazelnut tinge to it as well. Deep, deep, deep. I'm sure that when you're tasting this coffee at home, you're going to be tasting things that I don't taste. I think there's a little bit of milk chocolate in there as well. Like, there's just layers of flavour. There's layers of things going on. You know when you get like a bottle of wine that is like really like, wow, this is just so many different flavours in one glass. This is the wine equivalent. I'm really interested about why that slow fermentation makes it taste that way. It's really, really interesting, and I'm looking forward to going and spending some time with Raoul early this year and try and learn a little bit more about these experiments and what he's learning and what he's finding out. What I'm finding out is our time is coming to the end. Thank you for joining me, and do remember, life is too short for bad coffee. I can't remember my own name.